And if I'm starting here, all of this information that somebody's trying to gather, how can I create it so that it lives on my website, on my blog, on my social media, because we know they're looking for it. They're going to get that information somewhere. I want them to get it from you. Hey guys, and welcome back to Builder Funnel TV. And in today's video, I want to talk about a giant shift. And that shift is in the way people shop and buy. So we see it and kind of feel it daily in other industries and in our own experience. But sometimes I think we don't always notice that and apply it to our own industry. So as an example, if we think about kind of the old style of marketing, you think about watching TV, listening to the radio, you see a television ad, for a new car or a new phone, a new TV, something like that. You're listening to the radio. For some reason here, it's always a jeweler, and they're always hitting the radio ads. It's billboards, it's newspapers, it's magazines. These are kind of all the traditional channels of marketing. And so the old way of marketing is you kind of blast a message out there to an audience. You hope that some of it's targeted and that you're hitting people at the right time. And then let's say you see that car ad. And so what you do is you go down to the dealership and you talk to a salesperson. And that salesperson has all of the information. And you have to ask them all the questions. And they're the ones that kind of get to go, yep, we've got this, and here's the pricing, here's how it works. These are your different options, these are your upgrades. But everything kind of flows through that salesperson. And so you've got a combination of two very old school processes, really. So you've got this marketing and then sales. So let's talk about the marketing. Let's go back and think about that TV ad. Well, the old way of marketing is just broken. Let's think about it. Do you watch commercials anymore? I know that I try to avoid them at all costs. Same with radio. If you listen to the radio, there's a good chance that when a commercial comes on, you flip the station to something else, or you just don't listen to the radio anymore, right? You listen to podcasts, you listen to Spotify. I pay for Spotify, so I don't have to listen to ads. That's one of the primary reasons. And so if you think about consumers, we've gotten really good at blocking out traditional ads. Same with TV. There's YouTube TV, there's DVR, there's Netflix, there's all these ways that you can basically, as a consumer, remove or minimize advertising and marketing. And as consumers, when we have that option, we like to do that. And why do we want to do that? Why do we want to remove that? It's typically because, one, it's an interruption from what we actually want to be doing. And two, most of the time, it's pretty irrelevant, right? The message is irrelevant, the product is irrelevant, the timing is irrelevant. Maybe it's actually a product that we want and like, and we're just not ready to buy it for 6 months or 9 months. So all of these things have to go perfect for this kind of marketing and advertising to work. And so that's what we've seen over the last decade or so, is this shift, and it continues to shift. People continue to try to get away from ads, remove ads, block ads, all those types of things. So the old way of marketing, completely broken, which is why we want to talk about the new style of marketing that works really well. And that is inbound marketing. This whole premise of pulling people to us, attracting them. And we're saying, okay, there's some people out there that are in the market for my services. They just don't know who I am yet, but they're out there online, they're doing research, they're poking around. How can I pull those people into me so that now they know about my company? And that's the whole idea behind inbound marketing. And I actually talk about this in the first section of my book, which is right here, the Remodeler Marketing Blueprint. So if you haven't grabbed a copy, we'll drop the link below, but that's just over at remodelermarketingblueprint.com. However, if you think about that, you're going, okay, this old way of marketing doesn't work. So what can I do that's going to match the way people are actually shopping and buying? And that's what brings us to content marketing. People are looking for information. They're looking for price. They're looking for design ideas. They're looking for answers to all their questions, like, How long is this going to take to remodel my kitchen? Can I live in the home while this is going on? What are the current design trends? Which kinds of upgrades are going to add more value to my home versus the cost and the investment I have to put into them? Very specific questions. So if you start creating content that answers these questions as people are doing their research and they're looking for it, they get drawn to you. And now they're reading a blog post or watching a video like this or listening to a podcast, but that now kind of acts as an ad, right? Because it's marketing information, but they actually were seeking it out. So that person was looking for it. So immediately your marketing is already working more effectively than the old style of marketing where most people were just trying to tune it out and block it and avoid listening to it, watching it, whatever it was, versus content marketing where the people that are actually looking for you and your type of service, they want this information, they're hungry for it, and they want to consume it. So that's the first kind of overall breakdown and lesson here is, hey, has my marketing caught up with the times, and have I actually shifted the way I approach marketing to match the way people are actually doing their research and shopping and buying for different things? Let's talk about how that transitions into sales. So now that the consumers have all the power and all the leverage, right? Because before, they couldn't really get this information. There wasn't a lot online. And so even if you did find, that remodeling company or that car company that you were going to buy from, you got limited information, and then you had to go right to a salesperson, and then the salesperson, they had the leverage, they had the cards, they had all the information. Since that's flipped, we have to think about that a little bit differently now, and we have to recognize that when people come to us, they've been doing a lot of research. They have a lot of information. And as consumers, now we have the leverage. And so as salespeople, we need to recognize, okay, this person is coming to me with a lot of information. They probably already know a lot of things, but they have some very specific targeted questions that they need answered or specific information before they can make that final step to sign. So obviously we're not in an industry where you can just go to Amazon, compare 15 different TVs, and click and buy and do everything on the consumer side. They get to a certain point where they do need to go and talk to somebody within your company, salesperson, the owner, a designer, somebody that's going to walk them through the process. But if we kind of look at that buying cycle on a timeline, the old model, somebody would start here, they'd go through some marketing, and then boom, they'd reach out, talk to a salesperson. The salesperson would take them the rest of the way. The new model is they start here, they do all this research, they poke around blogs and website and social media and all this kind of stuff, and they get all the way to here, and they go, okay, I've got all the information I want. Now I'll talk to somebody, they'll take me the rest of the way. And so from a sales perspective, if you understand that, you can actually be more effective, and you can sometimes have a shorter sales process. Doesn't mean you can skip steps, so you still need to educate and you still need to round all the bases in your sales process, but you can typically move through it faster because they've already learned about a lot of this stuff and they've been educated. So some of it is you're just reviewing and confirming, and then you're answering those final questions and taking them the rest of the way. As you're approaching kind of your marketing and sales initiatives this year, I want you to keep that kind of like macro trend in mind, which is, hey, as I'm getting these inquiries through my website or as people are calling in, where are they? Are they actually right here, or are they maybe right here? And that will change the way you approach those conversations, change the way you set up those meetings and maybe move through those meetings. But more importantly, as you think about your marketing, you should be thinking, okay, if I'm starting here, all of this information that somebody's trying to gather, how can I create it so that it lives on my website, on my blog, on my social media? Because we know they're looking for it. They're going to get that information somewhere. I want them to get it from you. And the only way they're going to get it from you is if you start creating content that addresses those questions, that tackles those topics, and that actually does the educating. And remember, that style of marketing is not going away because consumers really want that information. They're actively seeking out and looking for it, and we like to be in control. And so you actually can take back a little bit of the control by being the educator and the creator of that content, because now you're starting to build the trust before they even get into the sales process. So you can use all of this as marketing time to build trust and credibility, and you can be doing it 24/7 on your website without you actively doing anything, because they're just bouncing around and consuming, and they're sitting there, in the evening on their iPad, and your website's doing all of this heavy lifting for you. And then once they enter the sales process, you're off and running. So hopefully this was helpful and kind of made you think a little bit differently about how you're approaching your marketing. Again, if you want to do like a really deep dive on this, that's what the book is all about. So we'll leave a link below to remodelermarketingblueprint.com, but you can pick up a copy today, and we're doing some cool book bonuses as well. But again, guys, the way people shop and buy has drastically changed, and so your marketing needs to change and catch up with the times. See you next time here on Builder Funnel TV.